Love yourself first. If you ever felt that weird electricity with someone and had no idea if it was just you, stay right here because in the next few minutes you're gonna know exactly what's real and what's in your head. These signs don't lie. 1. What sexual tension really is. Let's be real for a second. Sexual tension is one of the most confusing, exciting, and honestly overwhelming feelings a human being can experience. Most people think it's just about physical attraction, but as a psychologist, I want to tell you right now that sexual tension goes so much deeper than that. It's a combination of emotional connection, physical awareness, and unspoken desire that builds up between two people over time. You feel it in the air, you feel it in the silence, you feel it when they walk into the room and suddenly everything around you kinda fades into the background. What makes mutual sexual tension so powerful is that both people are experiencing this at the same time, even if neither one of them is saying a single word about it. The tricky part is that most people either misread the signs or completely miss them because they're too caught up in their own feelings to pay attention to what's actually happening between them. In this video, we're gonna break down every single sign that tells you the sexual tension between you and someone else is completely mutual, and more importantly, we're gonna talk about what you can actually do with that information in your real daily life. So stay with me because what I'm about to share with you is going to completely change the way you read people and relationships too. Eye contact that feels different. One of the very first and most powerful signs of mutual sexual tension is eye contact, but not just any eye contact. We're talking about the kind of eye contact that makes your heart actually skip a beat. And when sexual tension is real and mutual, the way two people look at each other completely shifts. It's longer than normal, it's deeper than normal, and most importantly, it feels almost uncomfortable to hold but impossible to break. Psychologists actually call this a prolonged gaze, and studies show that holding eye contact for more than 4 seconds triggers a part of the brain associated with emotional intimacy and arousal. When someone is attracted to you, they literally can't stop looking at you. And when you're attracted to them back, you'll notice that you're doing the exact same thing without even trying. You might catch them staring across a room, and the second your eyes meet, neither of you looks away immediately. There's this a tiny moment of electricity that passes between you. You might even laugh nervously or look away and then immediately look back. That back and forth is your brain and your body working together to say, hey, there's something real here. In your daily life, start paying attention to how long someone holds your gaze. If it feels charged, if it feels different from how they look at other people, that's not your imagination. That's mutual sexual tension making itself known. 3. The way they position their body around you. Here's something most people never think about consciously, but your body is always communicating way before your mouth ever does. When mutual sexual tension exists between two people, their bodies naturally start orienting toward each other, and this happens completely unconsciously. In psychology, we call this postural mirroring and body orientation, and it's one of the most reliable nonverbal signals of attraction. When someone is genuinely into you, they will almost always turn their entire body toward you. Even in a group setting, their feet will point in your direction and their shoulders will square up to face you. They lean in slightly when you talk, even when there's no noise requiring them to get closer. They might tilt their head when you're speaking, which is actually a subconscious signal of deep engagement and interest. On top of that, they'll mirror your movements. If you cross your arms, they cross their arms. If you lean back, they lean back. This mirroring happens because the brain of an attracted person starts syncing up with yours, trying to create a sense of closeness and connection. In your everyday interactions, watch how someone positions themselves when you're around. If their body keeps finding ways to stay close to yours, to face you, to lean toward you, that's not random. That's their body telling you the truth even when their words haven't caught up yet. Real quick, if any of these signs hit a little too close to home right now, smash that like button. You already know why, and don't go anywhere, because what's coming next is the part most people completely miss. For nervous energy that shows up as laughter and fidgeting, this one is so important and so overlooked. When sexual tension is mutual, both people get nervous, and that nervousness has to go somewhere. It shows up in the most interesting ways. You'll notice them laughing a little too much at things you say, even when it's not that funny. You'll notice them fidgeting, touching their hair, adjusting their clothes, playing with a ring or a bracelet, shifting their weight from one foot to the other. You might notice their voice changes slightly. It gets a little softer, a little warmer, a little more careful when they're talking to you. Specifically, as a psychologist, I see this all the time, and it's one of the most genuine signs of attraction because it's completely involuntary. The nervous system literally gets activated in the presence of someone we're strongly attracted to. Adrenaline kicks in, the heartbeat goes up, the palms might get slightly sweaty. The brain starts working overtime trying to monitor everything. What they're saying, how they look, what you think of them, and all of that internal chaos shows up externally as this beautiful, nervous, almost adorable energy that you can absolutely learn to recognize. In real life, if you notice someone seems slightly more flustered, slightly more on around you than they're around other people, pay attention to that. It means your presence is doing something to them they can't fully control. 5. They find excuses to touch you. Touch is one of the most direct channels of human connection, and when sexual tension is mutual, they need to touch and be touched because almost magnetic. Now, I want to be clear. We're not talking about inappropriate touching. We're talking about those small, almost accidental moments of physical contact that keep happening between two people who are drawn to each other. A hand that brushes yours when passing something, a touch on the shoulder that lasts a half second longer than it needed to. A gentle nudge when you say something funny, a hand on the lower back when walking through a doorway. These small touches are not accidental, they're your body's way of testing the waters, of closing the physical distance, of saying, I wanna be closer to you without using a signal word. In psychology, this is connected to the concept of haptic communication, the use of touch to convey emotion and build connection. Research shows that even the briefest moments of appropriate touch between two people can dramatically increase feelings of closeness, warmth, and yes, attraction. And here's the thing, when tension is mutual, you'll notice that you're doing it too. You're finding reasons to be physically close. You're not pulling away when they accidentally brush against you. You might even be leaning into those moments without realizing it in your daily life. Start noticing the patterns of touch with the people around you. Mutual touch that keeps finding its way back. That's a massive sign. Sex conversations that go deeper than they should when sexual tension is mutual. Something interesting happens to the way two people talk to each other. The conversations stop being surface level really fast. You start sharing things you don't normally share. They start opening up in ways that surprise even them. There's a natural pull toward honesty, toward vulnerability, toward wanting the other person to really know you. And this isn't just emotional, it's deeply connected to sexual attraction. Psychologists have long understood that emotional intimacy and sexual tension aren't separate things, they feed each other. The more emotionally connected you feel to someone, the more intense the tension becomes, and the more tension there's, the more you want to connected emotionally. It's a loop that keeps building on itself. You'll notice that time flies when you're talking to someone. A conversation that was supposed to be 5 minutes turns into 2 hours. You find yourself telling them things you've never told anyone else, and not because you plan to, but because being around them makes you feel safe and excited at the same time. That combination, safety plus excitement, is the psychological foundation of deep attraction. In everyday life, ask yourself, do your conversations with this person go places that your other conversations don't? Do you feel more alive, more yourself, more willing to be real? If the answer is yes, that's not just friendship, that's tension doing its work beneath the surface. Which one of these signs are you feeling right now? And are you brave enough to admit it in the comments? 7. The silence between you feels charged and not awkward. Most people are uncomfortable with silence. We rush to fill it, to say something, to keep things moving. But when mutual sexual tension exists between two people, silence becomes something completely different. It becomes a charge. It becomes almost loud in its own way. You can sit with this person and say absolutely nothing, and yet everything feels like it's being said. There's an awareness of each other that doesn't need words to survive. You might be sitting across from them at a table, both of you quiet, and yet you're both hyper aware of the other person's presence, their breathing, the way they're sitting, the way they're holding their drink. You steal glances, you smile at nothing. The air between you feels full instead of empty. In psychology, this is described as comfortable tension, an oxymoron that makes complete sense when you're living it. It's comfortable because you feel safe with this person. It's tense because there's so much unspoken desire sitting between you. In real world terms, pay attention to how silence feels with different people in your life. With most people, silence is just silence, but with someone you have mutual attraction with, silence becomes a whole conversation of its own. If you've ever been in that kind of silence with someone and felt your heart racing for no apparent reason, you already know exactly why I'm talking about it. They remember everything you say. Here's a sign that people don't talk about nearly enough, and as a psychologist, I think it's one of the most telling when someone is genuinely attracted to you, when the tension between you is real. They remember everything. They remember the offhand comment you made 3 weeks ago about your favorite movie. They remember that you mentioned you were stressed about something at work. They bring it up later, unprompted, just to check in. They remember your coffee order. They remember the name of your childhood best friend that you mentioned once in passing. There's a kind of attention to detail isn't something people do for everyone. The human brain is selective about what it stores and what it lets go, and it holds onto information about people. It cares about people it's attracted to, people it thinks about when they're not in the room. When someone remembers the small things you've said, it means that they're listening to you on a level that goes beyond polite conversation. It means that you convey real space in their mind. And in a world where most people are half listening and half distracted, being truly heard by someone is one of the most intimate experiences that you can have in your daily life. Notice who remembers your details and who doesn't. The person who keeps showing up with little pieces of information you shared, they're thinking about you way more than they're letting on. 9. The energy in the room shifts when you're together. This one is harder to put into words, but everyone who's experienced a mutual sexual tension knows actually what I mean. When the two of you are in the same space, something shifts so other people can feel it. The dynamic of the room changes. Conversations between between you are louder, more animated, more charged than conversations between other people. There's a kind of gravitational pull where the two of you keep ending up near each other, keep finding each other across a crowded space, keep gravitating back no matter how many other people are around. Psychologists sometimes refer to this as social magnetism, the phenomenon where two people with a strong mutual attraction naturally and unconsciously keep orienting toward each other in group settings. And here's the wild part. Other people notice it before you do it. Friends will start making comments. People will assume you're together before you've made any official move. Someone will ask, so what's going on with you two? Because the energy between you is not visible. In practical terms, if you've never walked into a room and felt your entire awareness shift the moment a specific person walked in, if your body physically reacted before your brain caught up, that's not just attraction. When it's mutual, that person is having the exact same experience on their end. The room shifts for both of you. Alright, now I wanna hear from you. Drop it in the comments right now. Which one of these signs are you dealing with? Be honest, and if this video finally gave you some clarity, share it with that one person who needs to see it. 10. They get a little jealous even without a label. Jealousy gets a bad reputation, and honestly, in a lot of cases, that reputation is deserved, but there's a very specific, very early form of jealousy that shows up when mutual sexual tension exists between two people, and it's actually one of the clearest signs you're gonna find when someone is attracted to you and the tension is real. They will react even subtly to the idea of you with someone else. They might get a little quieter when you mention someone you've been spending time with. Their energy might shift slightly when someone else flirts with you in front of them. They might ask questions that are a little too specific about your relationship status, your plans, who you're going out with. They're not trying to be controlling, they're just experiencing a very natural human response to perceived competition for someone they want. And the beautiful thing about this kind of early jealousy is that it's almost always involuntary. They can't fully hide it even when they try, because it's coming from a place of genuine feeling in your everyday life. Pay attention to how this person responds when you talk about other people you find attractive or spend time with. A subtle shift in their energy, a slight withdrawal, a carefully worded question. These aren't random, they're signs that what's between you matters to them more than they're currently willing to say out loud. Has someone ever given you all of these signs and you still did nothing about it? Tell me what happened. Drop it below. 11. There's a playfulness that crosses the line into flirting. One of the most enjoyable signs of mutual sexual tension is the way playfulness between two people starts to evolve into something that's clearly more than just friendly teasing. Every inside joke carries a little more weight. Every tease has a little extra warmth behind it. The banter between you has a rhythm that feels almost choreographed like you've developed your own private language of humor and provocation. In psychology, this kind of playful interaction is called affiliative humor when it's friendly, but when it starts crossing into flirtatious territory, it takes on a whole different energy. The jokes start to be about us. The teasing starts to feel like an excuse to talk, to engage, to stay in each other's orbit a little longer. You find yourself saying things you wouldn't say to just a friend, and they respond in ways that tell you they notice the shift. There's a dance happening, a push and pull, where one person tests the edge a little and the other meets them there instead of pulling back. This is one of the most reliable signs of mutual attraction because it requires both people to be playing the game willingly. You can't have that kind of charge, flirtatious banter with someone who isn't feeling it too. In your daily life, pay attention to whether your interactions with someone have taken on that playful but charged quality. If the jokes keep getting a little more personal, a little more warm, a little more us against the world, the tension between you is very, very real. 12. What to do when you recognize these signs? Okay, so let's say you've been watching this video and checking off these signs one by one, and you're sitting there realizing, yes, this is exactly what's happening between me and this person. And now what? This is where most people freeze, and I completely understand why. Acknowledging mutual sexual tension feels risky. What if you're wrong? What if saying something out loud breaks the magic? What if acting on it changes everything? Here's what I want you to take away from this video as your practical real-life psychological framework. Attention that's never acknowledged eventually fades, turns into frustration, or becomes the regret you carry for years. The signs that we talked about today, the eye contact, the touch, the nervousness, the deep conversations, the jealousy, the charged silence, the way the room shifts, these aren't random. They're your emotional and physical reality communicating something important. The healthiest, most emotionally intelligent thing you can do when you recognize mutual sexual tension is to create a space where it can be addressed honestly, not aggressively, not desperately, but with confidence and openness. That might mean a direct conversation. It might mean making a move. It might mean simply letting the other person know that you see what's happening and you're open to exploring it. Relationships that begin with this level of mutual awareness tend to be the most passionate, most connected, and most authentic. Don't let fear make the decision for you. Pay attention to the signs, trust what you feel, and have the courage to move toward what you want. Thank you. You clearly value yourself and your relationships. Make sure you go back over these points and actually put them into action. Your moments are so special and so beautiful. See you in the next video.